They tell you you will not succeed because you are here and there. There are many people in the best places in the world not succeeding. A lady called me 2 weeks ago, has been in London for 16 years without a job, struggling barely to survive. 16 years. Meanwhile, there are many Nigerians traveling through Sahara Desert to go to Europe. 16 years in London without a job. And the word of the Lord went forth. And in less than a month, she got a job with an official car. I told her, what makes the difference is where you are speaking from. There's a battle in the spirit called the battle of heights. That was why Lucifer wanted to exalt his throne. Because the higher you go, the more authority you exert. That's why Moses came to the mountain of God. When Moses came to the mountain of God is higher than the mountain of Egypt. So Moses could come with one staff and destroy the civilization called Egypt. One staff. He didn't have an army. He had an encounter. One staff can bring down the government of a nation. One staff can bring down a civilization because of an encounter. He went to the mountain of God. Your territory is not a disadvantage. The question is, what are the qualities of your encounters? I'll be rounding up in another 5 minutes and we'll pray briefly. Like I said, it's the first night. I just came to trouble the waters. But most of you, we have destiny-changing encounters before this conference is over. You have looked at men before. You have looked up to men before. Go and ask people who succeed. They will tell you how many men failed them. If you see a man who looks up to men, he has not succeeded. That's why he's still deceived. He said, woe unto him that putteth his trust in the arm of flesh. Any man who succeeds will tell you he's a spirit. God told me. God made it happen. I learned it by following men that succeeded. And no one had a testimony apart from God. Why do we labor preaching? Is to lead people to God. That's why we don't preach ourselves. We preach Christ and we his servants. Because every man must meet his creator before he leaves this realm. That's what we define the quality of his life. But that's the last thing believers are doing. So a believer can travel from one state and go and sit down for 3 weeks to see a prophet. But he cannot stay in the place of prayer for 3 days. If you woke up tonight, your story can change. It's possible. That's what I came to tell you. It's possible. The fourth disadvantage is the scar of a wrong life. Some people think they can't succeed anymore because they live the wrong life. I was a harlot. I was a murderer. I was a criminal. The life of Paul told us otherwise. He wrecked on the church. God sent him back to build the church. The brothel where the harlot lives, she can go back to that brothel and change it. The thief can go back into the world of criminals and change it. The difference is encounters. In Acts chapter 9, from verse 4 to 5, he had received letters to go to Damascus to wreak havoc on the church yet again. And the Lord appeared. He said, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And instantly turned. He said, who are you, Lord? His life was about to change. You may have become a slave of the wrong life. You may have become a victim of the past. But an encounter can rewrite the story. Joyce Meyer was raped by her father. But no scar can stand when you go through the fires of encounters. You can be a known criminal. No scar can stand the fires of encounter. Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Who art thou, Lord? I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It is hard to kick against the pricks. Now rise ye up and go into the city. You will be told what you should do. And a thief became an apostle. Rahab, the known harlot, her house was on top of the city. The fence of the city, that was where she lived. So anybody coming in and out of the city must see her. She was a renowned harlot, but she had an encounter. And Rahab became part of the progenitors of Jesus Christ. It is recorded in scriptures today that Jesus came through her lineage. What was the difference? Encounters. It doesn't matter if you were a harlot. It doesn't matter if you have even had 2 children from 2 different fathers, 5 children from 5 different fathers. Did you not read the story of the Samaritan woman? Go, call thy husband. I have no husband. In that you said true, because you've had 5 husbands, and the one you are living with is not thy husband. Who are you? And suddenly, if you knew who it was that asked thee for a drink, you would have asked of me, and I would have given you rivers of living water. Who art thou? I am he. And instantly, a harlot turned to an evangelist. A woman with the worst life. The whole city knew her. And one harlot took over the whole city, because the whole city came to Jesus. Who taught her the gospel? When did she read the Torah? She was not trained, but she had an encounter. She never went to a Bible school, but she had an encounter. The gospel is not for those who are learned. The gospel is for those who have seen the Lord. Because Mary Magdalene, from whom 7 demons were cast out, was the first to preach the New Testament. Encounters can turn the lives of people around. Before she went to the well, she was a harlot. When she came back from the well, she was an evangelist. The power of encounter. Before you came to church, you may be a liar, but you may go back from church as an apostle. It's an encounter. You may come to church as a beggar, but you may go back as a king. It's a 400 broken men came to David in Cave Adullam. And David showed them the way of the Lord. And this man became the mighty man of David. When David wanted to build the house of God, those men gave goods worth $22 billion in our day. 400 broken men that were in debt. The difference is encounter. Instead of troubling your life and living hopelessly, go and cleave to the horns of the altar, and your disadvantage will vanish.